So we are back for the last few questions on this Unit 2, Assignment 6, Pythagorean Theorem. All right, it says find the area and side length of the shortest side of the right triangle below. Now you might be looking at this picture and being like, where is the right triangle? The right triangle is actually right here, okay? And then let's look at the information they give us. They give us that the area of this square is 144. That's the area of the square, okay? And then they also give us that the area of this square is 225, all right? And we want to know both the side length over here and the area of this square. So since we have a right triangle, that's usually kind of a dead giveaway that we're going to use the Pythagorean theorem. Now remember, C is always across from the 90-degree angle. So this red square up here is going to be part of C. So usually when we plug our values in, we would say like 144 and then we would square it. We are not going to do that this time because 144 is already the square, right? Usually we're given the side length, like 3, and so we square it. Like we do 3 squared, which gives us 9. So the area of that square is 9. But here we already know the area of the square. So when we plug it into the Pythagorean theorem, it's already squared. It's already a square. Let's just let this side be A because it's the smallest. We don't know A squared. B would be 144, and that's already squared, right? That's already the shape of a square. So we don't square it. It's already done. And then when we go to plug in C squared, 225 is already the square. So we don't need to square it. It's already done. And then we're going to solve it. So if we want to get A squared by itself, we have to get rid of 144. Since 144 is positive, the opposite would be negative or subtract. So we're going to subtract that from each side. That cancels, leaving us with A squared equals, and then we can pull over a calculator, 225 minus 144. And that equals 81. So we actually have part of our answer here. The first thing we had to do was find the area. So the area of this, or the square, the whole square, is going to be 81. So that's one of our answers. This is the area. But we also want to know the side length A, with just A by itself. So if we wanted to get A by itself, we'd have to get rid of the square. So we would square, let me just rewrite it right here. We would square root both sides. The square and square root would cancel. And the square root of 81 is a positive and negative 9. But the negative doesn't make sense in this situation because it is a side length. So 9 would be the side length. So that's how you solve for the area and the side length. A boat travels 5 miles east and 8 miles north. So if we have our little boat here, again, I'm not the best artist, and we go, think about north, south, and then we, I always spell out we. So if we go 5 miles east, we're going this way for 5 miles. And then if we go 8 miles north, we're going up for 8 miles. And then it says, how far is the boat from the starting point? If this was our starting point and this was our ending point, and we want to know how far, we need to find that distance. Okay, notice we formed a right triangle. So we can use the Pythagorean theorem. The side across from the right triangle is always C. So if we plug these into our formula, A squared plus B squared equals C squared. A is 5, B is 8, and C we don't know. Now notice I went ahead and squared these numbers because they're not already squares. I hope this is making sense. If it gives you the square, then you don't need to square it. It's already squared. But if it just gives you the side length, then you do need to square it. So we would type this in our calculator, 5 squared plus 8 squared. And some of y'all can do this in your brain, which is awesome. I'm going to double check in my calculator. 89. Okay, so 89 equals C squared. It doesn't ask for the area of the square. It asks for the distance between the starting point and the ending point. So we're not done yet. We got to get rid of the square. And the opposite of squaring is square rooting. So we're going to square root both sides. The square and square root cancel. And then the square root of 89, that's going to give us a decimal. Let's see approximately what that is. Square root of 89 is about 9.4. So they've gone approximately, these are the approximate symbols, 9.4 miles from their starting point to their ending point. I should put an M for miles. Okay. Oh, that was it. All right, guys, I hope you do well in this Pythagorean Theorem, Unit 2, Assignment 6.